It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we move into a Thursday. Gary, how are you?
What a bizarre day.
That was weird, wasn't it?
I'm doing okay.
Was Biden wearing the MAGA hat at any point yesterday?
I have not seen those chiclets like that since he debated Paul Ryan.
I don't know the last time he even smiled.
Like that? I mean, the smile was ear to ear.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, I was like, where am I? Did somebody put something in my coffee this morning? What in the world? This is yesterday morning I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. What in the hell's going on?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I mean, Democrats. Now, the only thing is, Democrats aren't furious because if you've seen the ratings from the liberal media right now, Democrats are buried. They have decided to take the advice that Biden had in 2020, and they're all hiding in their basements, staying away from every form of media. But, I mean, X Twitter yesterday was just absolutely mind-boggling with people going, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah.
He has never been this. You have never seen him, as I saw, since the last week. Biden has never been happier.
Yeah. Well, I knew this was the case. I've been saying this all along. I'm convinced that, and you'll never convince me otherwise, that when he wrote that letter, or whoever wrote it for him, and said he was sitting down and endorsed Kamala, that was not part of the plan. The endorsement was not part of the plan. And that was him saying to his party, you know what? Good luck. And by the way, it's going to look perfectly natural because she's my Veep. I know you guys don't want her. Hell, I didn't want her. So, good luck. And how many times? Look, he walked into the White House press briefing room, unannounced for the first time ever, to connect those two, to connect Kamala Harris to his hip. And I'm convinced that she was going to, at some point, because they had an interview scheduled, she was going to say, well, I disagree or I differ from Joe Biden on this and that. And she's going to give a couple of things where she's different. And Biden steps in, got wind of that, ran down the hallway, steps in and says, she basically has been running the show from day one. I've been following her lead. All of this builds his legacy of I told you so and I could have won. You saw that yesterday. You saw that smile. I told you so, I could have won. I would have beat this guy. I beat him once. I would have beat. That's going to happen till the end of time.
Yeah, I mean, it was just what a zoo it was yesterday, and you know, it's funny because I was pretty busy yesterday, but every time I sit down, look at the phone, what's going on? It's just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, and the thing is, again, we pay attention to what's going on in X because there is no better place to go to see what the surrogates, the different surrogates of the Republican Party have to say.
Yeah, right.
And when Thune, for example, got the nod and got the votes,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all over the place right now when you think about where Republicans are. I mean, you go and you look at what Republicans that support the Republican Party are. They're all over the place in their opinions.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at well, the good thing is Cornyn didn't get in.
Yeah, I saw the meme. Oh well, better than Cornyn. I would agree with that.
But it's just, Republicans and especially the type of the ones that are anti-Republican, so-called anti-Republican establishment, which I'm really not sure what that is right now. But they're quiet on Rubio, but it can't be Thune.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Well, I'll say this. With Rubio, understanding what the role is, it's going to be a direct, you're out there basically the voice and face of the president as Secretary of State. So maybe that's more excusable, or they can see it.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm talking about the loyal Trump supporter that was absolutely anti-Rubio no matter what. I'm not talking about the logic of the fact that the president gets to, do whatever he wants. It's the fact that these people hate Rubio, and it's like, oh, okay, well, Rubio, but Thune, no way. And I just find it interesting just how the dynamic is flying back and forth. Yeah, for example, Tulsi Gabbard. You think about her becoming director of national intelligence, and
right.
The Trumposphere, as I call it, is what a great choice. She was absolutely against what Trump did. In fact, she went to Damascus. Remember, along with Nancy Pelosi, when they went after the chemical warfare stuff. You sit there and you go, "What the hell is he appointing her to be?" These are the questions that come up. Why are you appointing her to be DNI?
Well,
she's the one that said that only Russia. And Russia surrogates are really concerned with defeating ISIS.
Plus, she's on the TSA watch list.
Well, no, it is.
By the way, does that qualify you to no longer be on the TSA watch list?
Because, well, I can say the same. I can say the same thing. It doesn't matter what she said in the past. She's aboard now. Now she has not come out and said, retracted any of her statements or positions before. They were absolutely against what Trump did in foreign policy, and Trump was absolutely right. In what he did. And so you're just like that. And then, you can get to Matt Gaetz, but what are how much would you be willing to bet that Matt Gaetz never gets to a vote?
I don't think the moment I saw the headline, I said, that's not going to last. He's going to withdraw. He's going to withdraw. At some point he will. There's going to be too much pressure.
And it's simply, no matter what you think about Matt Gaetz, positive and negative, because he's done some real. I've seen him at times question people, and he's been great. And at other times you sit and go, "What the hell's he talking? What is he doing?" You and I've always talked about the fact that when he went after very heavily to get Kevin McCarthy, McCarthy out, and he was talking about how Trump supports it, and Trump didn't support it. It was, what the hell? Yeah, what the hell?
He was asked by a reporter. Have you talked to the former president? Yes, I talked to him. We've been in communication. Are you aware he just posted on Truth Social that he doesn't think this is a good idea? And it caught Matt, and that was live. That caught Matt Gaetz off guard.
And so you're looking, and as I said before, Matt Gaetz is a bomb thrower. Now, that isn't necessarily a negative label to have, because every party has bomb throwers. They exist inside, especially in the House of Representatives. You'll see that, and Rand Paul used to be one in the Senate. Okay, I had to say that. But bomb throwers are just a part of the reality, and they're the ones that will really get the headlines, and the headlines at times are the things that can drive an issue in your favor.
By the way, we didn't disagree with Matt Gaetz on going after leadership for, the refusal to focus on cutting spending and things like that.
Not at all. No.
What we disagreed with was the approach and the remedy. Because the problem was ultimately you ended up losing more seats. I mean, it was not. You need that cohesion. I don't want them. By the way, I don't want them to walk around agreeing with each other 100% of the time. I want a very healthy dissent within the party. I want, especially when it comes to fiscal matters. But there has to be a remedy that's different than the way it went down, and Trump agreed.
Yeah, and that's that's the point. At times when he's questioning people, he has great attention to detail. At other times like that, it was like, wow, you didn't even know that. I mean, you opened your mouth, before that, but he just doesn't have. I don't see the votes being there. You're not going to have one Democrat senator vote for him. Not one.
No.
That's like it's if you want to take the reverse. And I'm not putting a moral equivalency here. I want to make it clear. But on the other side, it's like if they decided that Goldman should be Attorney General or Raskin should be Attorney General.
Or Schiff, Adam Schiff.
Adam Schiff, yeah, when he was now he's in the Senate, but when he was in the House. Exactly. That's the kind of thing. You take out, it's almost like doing this, and you made a great point about Trump's chief of staff.
Susie Wiles.
Yeah, did Susie Wiles say, I think this is a good idea? And we're like, no.
I don't see her saying, I think that's a good idea. I understand her role, but I think she's been very, from all reports, been very close to the former president, the president-elect now, and has been a key to bringing all this together. On that one, I don't see her being on board, and you would have to, I'd have to see something from her that would tell me different.
Now, you made the case in our pre-show meeting. We actually had a pre-show meeting. And you no, you you said to me,
I mean, we were here and we were talking, but yeah.
We were in the discussion back and forth. Well, who else was on the list for the Attorney General? But but you look at it and it's like, where was the headline I read that Trump dares the Senate not to confirm Gates, and I'm like, dares? Well, you're not going to. There's no dare to any Democrat, so all you need to get is a majority. So you need to get 51.
Right.
Okay. You need to get 50, or can you get 50? And can the vice president on these things? I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, you're right. It's not, because it's not a piece of legislation.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just look at the numbers. Collins, Murkowski, gone.
Right.
They're not going to vote for Gates.
So you're down to 51.
You're down to 51. You can only lose 2. You're going to lose 2. And that's the problem. And people, you may say right out, no, he's not. And everything. And these are Republicans that were all throwing this out yesterday, that the reason is because the House Ethics Committee is still looking at him for those drug use and sex allegations.
Right.
Because they threw out a bunch of the allegations, said, no, okay, there's nothing there that's credible back over the middle of the summer. And it doesn't matter whether it's credible or not. What the fact is, if they haven't made a decision on the second set, then that becomes an atomic bomb in the whole nomination process, as Democrats will pound on it over and over again.
The Senate confirmation hearing in that case becomes a trial.
Yes. Yeah. That's great. I like the way you put that.
And
you
don't want that.
Right. And so you've already lost 2 Republicans. You have to assume you've lost those 2 Republicans. And I think most Republicans would say, yeah, that's a great point. You probably will, because they're like, we don't need a bomb thrower in there. Forget about even the other ethics complaints and whether they're legit or not, because everybody deserves a presumption of innocence. It's just the reality of politics. And so it's like, well, then why did you do it? And I know we've already got input from our listeners going, no, Trump just wanted him out of Congress.
Actually, we got an email.
It was an email?
Right as we were talking about it, just minutes ago, a couple of minutes after midnight. This came from Matt. No, I'm sorry. It came from Glenn. The title is Matt. The subject is Matt. Matt Gaetz. From Glenn in Pittsburgh, I think Trump's pick of Matt Gaetz is a ruse. I think it's a sacrificial lamb. Trump owes him for financial election denial. Fanatical election denial. I don't have my glasses on. And has teed him up for a loss. He knows he won't be confirmed, but it gives the Dems and many Republicans, in parentheses, a win, with quotation marks around win.
How?
Well, look, if here's the thing. If you're saying you want him out of Congress, you want him out of the House, That's what the fact that he, it was like the headlines were back to back. Boom, he's nominated. Boom, he's resigned. And if you wanted him out of Congress, I guess that's one way to do it. I can't explain it because I can't see Susie Wiles going, you need to go with Matt Gaetz. Based on the Trump team that's been put together. Remember, where was it? It was somewhere in Florida. They were supposed to appear somewhere together, and Trump canceled.
He wasn't a part of the campaign
at all. He wasn't a surrogate this time. Yeah. Technically he was a surrogate, but he wasn't an official surrogate. He was not on the campaign team in a big way at all. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense at all. I don't see it happening.
We got a great show ahead. 866-90-RED-EYE.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. Cold temperatures and water can lead to only one outcome, and ice has no place in a truck's air system. That's why it's absolutely crucial to keep your air system moisture-free as temperatures begin to drop. If a vehicle didn't have an air dryer, the air system would be filled with that water, which can lead to dangerous and costly premature brake failures. To add insult to injury, if it's cold enough, that liquid will freeze, threatening air supply to various systems, including the transmission and suspension. Ice in the air system can also disable the compressor, for example, along with any of the air valves in the system. Make sure your air system is in top condition before plunging temperatures. Put it to the test.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. And most people probably don't remember, but when John Tower was knocked down when he was going for Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense back in '89 under the new Bush administration at that point, Herbert Walker Bush. Mm-hmm. It was because, and he was voted down. It was because of all the stories of sex parties and drinking and everything else. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what, shut him down. I believe he was the last one not to win it. I just don't see where you get the votes. No matter what you think, I don't know where you get the votes.
Right.
To get to get 51. You've already lost 2. You can only lose 2 more. And I don't think you have members of this Senate, of the Republican Senate, that have no problem saying nope to him. And they're going to know it soon. They're going to know the numbers, because they'll do the numbers and crunch the numbers.
The head count's going to be obvious quick.
And so the thing is, and again, with the drug use, sexual allegations, I have no idea. None of us do, whether that's true or not. It doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's going to be absolutely highlighted over the next month.
Well, it becomes a trial, and it becomes a trial, as you just point out. It doesn't. It goes on. It starts now and goes on until he withdraws until the Senate confirmation hearing.
Right.
So do you want that to be the headline?
Yeah.
Because they will be the headlines. That will be the headlines.
And that is the one that really makes no sense. And I thought the same as you. I said, Susie Wiles couldn't have said, okay, this is a great one. Again, with Tulsi Gabbard, an odd pick, I would say.
Yeah.
Odd pick. Can it work? Yeah, it can work.
I see her being effective in that role. I wouldn't have brought her name up first for that role.
Neither would I. Yeah.
Radcliffe, CIA director. Well, he was director of national intelligence in the Trump first term. But for her, I could see her doing it, but she wasn't at the top of my list in consideration for that.
Powered by windmills and solar panels. Red Eye Radio.
Actually, our reserve power is a diesel generator out back.
Yeah.
Just so people know.
Exactly.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. I was just going through X, seeing what the tone is. I come up into the Babylon Bee. And I can't, you got to see the picture of it. It's like Trump nomination of Matt Gaetz raises eyebrows, and it's a picture of Matt Gaetz. And I never noticed, but he has very, very long eyebrows.
Yeah.
That when, he smiles at all, go way up into the air.
Yeah. Like a young Jack Nicholson.
Yes, I never noticed.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. But that's the thing. I just don't, you could sit there. I think it was National Review, one of the writers that said, why are you even talking about this? He's not going to be confirmed. It's not going to happen.
Well,
he doesn't have the votes.
It was. I actually said it out loud when the notification hit my phone. I said it's not going to happen. It won't pass.
Yeah. And it's just the numbers. You don't have one Democrat. You're not going to have one Democrat vote for it.
In fact, this is their opportunity.
Right.
This is their fissure in the ice right here. Let's make everything about this.
Yeah,
especially in that position.
Well, yeah, everything will be about it, until
he withdraws.
Either he withdraws
or it doesn't.
And the vast majority of the time you withdraw when you do it. But it's going to be, again, and it doesn't matter whether it's fair. Forget about fair. We're talking politics.
Yeah.
And again, I have no idea. They had the ethics complaints going on for the longest time with him since 2021. And having come up with something, that should say something.
Right.
That the evidence apparently isn't crystal clear at all, because you're not talking about a court of law. You're talking about ethics complaints.
Yeah. Right,
but from what I've read, there are still some of the ethics complaints about the partying and, drug use and things like that, which, again, the last person not to get votes was John Tower for Secretary of Defense back in 1989. And those were the allegations against him.
Yeah.
And so you look at it and you're like, okay, that's all you're going to hear now for the next. It doesn't matter. I went, now here's the thing. Here's the thing. You with Peter for Secretary of Defense, that's gone.
Yeah.
There is no controversy anymore.
Right.
It's like the Gaetz one is the only thing the Democrats are really going to focus on.
Yeah.
Nothing else is really going to matter. Everybody else goes through, but and if he withdraws, and there's a ton of. By the way, everything that we're talking about here, everything that I saw is coming from Republicans and surrogates and people that voted for Trump,
right?
Trying to figure out what in the world is going on.
Yeah.
This isn't even coming from Democrats,
right?
It's coming from Republicans, and it was like, well, they want him to withdraw, and then he's going to take Marco Rubio's place in the Senate. It's just like, okay.
Yeah.
The one thing too on the whole Senate thing with Thune, getting in and saying is going to help move forward the I don't think he said MAGA, but the Trump
agenda,
the Trump agenda. And all of that is that so much about Scott was about, the fundraising for, what was it, 2022?
Yeah.
When they didn't do well in the Senate and all the money that was raised. And a great point was made on that what the public doesn't see is the internal stuff, that so much is internal of why Scott didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's internal stuff that we don't know about. The relationships that go on inside that we're never privy to.
Right. Yeah. But you kind of also felt that in Scott's run, in his campaign in Florida. It seemed like there was, you could feel the rift going on. Look, I don't know. I don't have a unicorn for Senate Majority Leader. You know what I mean? The fact that it wasn't Cornyn was a plus. Because I said to you, this goes back a ways. My gosh. It may have been last year sometime. If the GOP wins the Senate in 24, it's not going to be McConnell. I mean, he's clearly not going to, he's not going to stay in that position. So they're talking Cornyn. I was like, Cornyn? Really? And I was just shaking my head at it. But I don't know. I haven't built the unicorn yet, I guess, for that position. And the reason is because the consensus on most everything is already built in, based on the mandate, based on how the votes went, how the election went down. This is unlike 2016, where Trump has to go and it just seems like everything's all over the place. And it was very tough for him to build a mandate when he came in January 2017. Well, or to build a consensus rather. And now it's already built in, to a large extent that consensus is built in. So there you have it. I think in the, what they need to get done in the Senate, look, Collins and Murkowski, there's your two weak points right there. They're the great concern. They essentially leave you at 51, not 53 on, a number of things. And it's like, and you shake your head at it. So to that extent, you need somebody to bring them over and have that conversation on too many things, by the way. But that's just kind of, that's the landscape. That's where you are right now with the GOP and with the Senate. I haven't built out a unicorn for Senate Majority Leader.
I think one thing people have to understand is if you put yourself in the mind of Trump, though, because people are saying, why did he pick him? Because he can't get confirmed. But also understand what's in Trump's mind. Remember, it was his own Department of Justice who threw him under the bus in 2017.
Yeah.
I think now, what's his name? I can't think of
Sessions.
Sessions, remember, recused himself, but Mueller was appointed by Rosenstein, I believe, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Rosenstein, I forgot which one. And remember, he convinced him to stay. Initially, he had put in his resignation, as a lot of them do, and he says, "No, I want you to stay." And so he stayed, and then he's the one that put the special counsel in.
Yeah.
There's still the great question that you and I have today, because that didn't happen until the middle of 2017, and it was pretty common knowledge inside there that the dossier was bogus,
right?
And the Mueller thing, and so you look at it from Trump's point of view. Trump was burned by his own Department of Justice, and he doesn't want to take a chance of that happening again.
Well, there's that, and don't you want a bulldog to go in and weed out the rot? I mean, again, just because I can't explain it doesn't mean it ultimately wouldn't make sense, but you still get back to the vote and the confirmation thing, and it's not going to happen. You're just not going to get, that's just not going to happen for Gates. I don't have any faith in that.
Now, there's a question, why did he resign immediately? And Mike Johnson saying yesterday that the reason he resigned, oh, by the way, thanks, Fox News.
Yeah, Fox News and the New York Times finally jumping on board.
Thanks, their lead headline. I'm like, because when I came in, I just started scanning. As soon as I came in, I went, oh, let me check.
The GOP takes the House.
Let me take. It's like GOP takes the House. Huge bold letters. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
We know. We know that.
Thanks for telling us that. It's like a huge bold headlines on Fox.com.
Well, I had so many notifications on my phone. It was like, yeah, I know. So I'm swiping them away. I know.
That Republicans take the House.
Yeah.
But, Johnson was saying if he resigns now, they could have somebody up and ready to go by January 3rd, so they don't lose that vote.
Right, yeah.
Which does, make sense. Anything else was just pure speculation. And the speculation, if you were on X yesterday, all the speculation was from really Republicans, the majority Trump supporters. What the hell's going on? What's this? And where could this go? And, he can't get the votes because of, he's and some of the stuff wasn't even on the allegations, the ethics allegations. It was on the fact that he's a bomb thrower, and bomb throwers don't get. Now, I want to be clear about this. Bomb throwers get in, but it's the quiet bomb throwers.
Yeah, right.
Merrick Garland, for example, very, very mellow, almost dead.
Mm-hmm.
But he's as radical as you can get. The things that the Department of Justice did under his watch are as radical as you can get.
Yeah.
But you can't seem like a bomb thrower.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can be a bomb thrower, or you can be, I won't say a bomb thrower, because a bomb thrower is somebody who is loud. You can be, and so if you're loud, you're viewed as radical as can be. Well, Merrick Garland isn't loud, but he's as radical as you can get. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, okay, what you actually end up doing in there. But it's the fact that it's very tough to get when you're a bomb thrower in Congress, which, again, every party has.
Mm-hmm.
It's the reality of what you have. Now, if Gates does drop out, I heard Boebert is next. Okay, I'm making that up.
Well,
I'm making that up. I made that up.
I don't.
Everybody's looking at me smiling.
I don't think that's going to happen. The talk's been there for years, since his first term, Trump's first term, about Ted Cruz, but I don't see that happening either. And, I think Ted Cruz would get confirmed, but I don't see Trump picking Ted Cruz for that. But, if you talk about somebody who knows the law, Ted Cruz.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I wouldn't be against it. I just don't know that Trump would do it. I don't know that he would nominate him. But I didn't yesterday. I almost asked you during a break off the air yesterday, hey, what's going on with Matt Gaetz these days? Haven't heard much from him.
Yeah.
I swear I was thinking that.
Yeah.
And here we are. But I don't know. I don't know where it will go. I think, look, that head count's, it's already there. You already know what it is. Right now, the difference would be which two other Republicans besides Murkowski and Collins are you worried about? And is it just two? Do you have two or three in the GOP that right now are saying no?
Well, I think it's going to be. I think it'll be very quick. Where
I suspect it will be too.
I think if he withdraws, it'll be quick, or it goes to the Senate, because very quickly you're going to have Thune tell him you don't have the votes.
Right.
You don't have the votes. Do you really want to go through a trial on the sexual and drug ethics complaints against him? Because that's why it didn't make sense. Again, these are Republicans, and some of them surrogates, quite supportive of incoming President Trump, that said, well, no, he resigned immediately because those ethics complaints, the report was coming out Friday, and now that now that he's resigned, the report won't be coming out on Friday. And I went, well, that doesn't make that difference. All that information, you don't think Democrats are going to have all that information and leak it and that's all you're going to hear for the next month?
Right.
That, the incoming attorney general is a possible drug user? Whether it's true or not doesn't matter.
Well, the left wants to turn this into a trial, and they'll use every opportunity to make this the story up until and all the way through the confirmation process.
Yeah. And so the fact is, you're going to know early on that the Senate leadership's going to let the White House, or the incoming White House, know you don't have the votes. Right. And then what do you do at that point? You sit there. What is the political advantage at that point to have? Well, I keep thinking a month. I keep thinking we're in December.
I know. It feels like it.
Almost 2 months
Yeah.
of the Democrats day in and day out pounding on the ethics complaints concerning drug use.
Yeah.
And sex parties, whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. No,
is that what you want?
We're going to make that the story.
Where's the win for you? Which,
right,
again,
exactly.
Which is the great mystery. Why did he appoint them if he knew? And I would have guessed Susie Wiles would tell him he doesn't have a chance.
Yeah.
Why would you do it?
Right.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Now, you just told me the New York Times that, out. This is what you're going to have for the next month, that, on Friday, that the House Ethics Committee was supposed to have their report. Now, if they have a report, it means, because if you don't have anything, they just drop it.
Right.
There's a report now. The Democrats are going to say there's something there.
Right, exactly.
Inflation numbers and more coming up.
Top of the Hour News is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want to hear the BS moment of the day?
There was just one?
Well, no, this is the BS moment of the day, not the only moment. It's the moment. It wins. I view it as the winner of the day. Complete and total BS. Are you ready?
All right.
And I'm not even going to tell you who it is. You will instantaneously know the voice.
All right.
Here we go.
Now let me turn to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Another closely contested election now comes to an end. To my Republican colleagues, I offer a word of caution in good faith. Take care not to misread the will of the people, and do not abandon the need for bipartisanship. After winning an election, the temptation may be to go to the extreme. We've seen that happen over the decades, and it's consistently backfired on the party in power. So instead of going to the extremes, I remind my colleagues that this body is most effective when it's bipartisan. If we want in the next 4 years the Senate to be as productive as the last 4, the only way that will happen is through bipartisan cooperation. Democrats will be ready to do what we have consistently done. Work with both sides when the opportunity arises. Democrats will never abandon our values, but neither will we reject an opportunity to move the ball forward to make people's lives better when we can.
Okay, I'm done. I can't even go any further on it.
How's that burger coming along? Put cheese on mine, would you?
Don't. Warning the Republicans, don't go too far. Oh, my God.
Bipartisan, 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 fence walking, bipartisan, fence walking.
It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right, Chuck. Okay. As always, we're willing to work with the other side. Like we did with the Russian hoax. Listen, we had Liz Cheney and her dad. If there's any doubt about it, we had Liz and Dick Cheney on our side. We're willing to work with both sides. Bipartisanship. That's what that is. Yeah. Well, bye. Yeah. Way to go, Chuck. I don't like my burger rare. Don't put the cheese on it too early, Chuck. You always put the cheese on too early.
You know what I want from Trump
Huh.
day one?
What?
Tell us whether the damn extraterrestrials are here.
Oh, no.
I am so damn sick and tired of watching these congressional hearings on UFOs.
Yeah.
Tell us if they exist or not. End it now.
Yep. I think we're going to learn everything. I think we're going to learn everything.
For God's sakes.
I think we're going to learn everything.
You know, you don't have to be reelected again. I don't care what you do. Just tell me. Actually, I do. But just tell me.
You know what we're going to learn?
If there's UFOs, because we know there's UFOs, because UFOs are unidentified flying objects, and you can't identify them. 2 nights ago, I was coming into work. There were 2 lights I saw. You know, it looked like one was over DFW Airport. The other one seemed like it was north of Dallas. These 2, they weren't airplanes. I don't know what that. I could not identify them. I'm like, what the heck is that? And they were they were pretty far away. I mean, probably 10 miles away, but you could see them. They were very bright in the sky. And I'm like, what is it, a balloon? What is it, some kind of drone? I couldn't figure out because they weren't moving like an airplane would move. And if you go by any major airport, you know what to expect. I'm like, are they helicopters? And it was almost like the lights were flashing. So
yeah, we're going to learn.
Yeah, so
we're going to learn everything.
I know that there are unidentified flying objects that you can identify. People believe UFOs, though, are extraterrestrials. No, let's make sure, since we live in an age where definitions don't mean anything anymore, let's make sure we get the definitions in there. I know there are UFOs. Are there extraterrestrials? Let's end this. Let's do it now. Schellenberger was testifying yesterday. Yes, these things are hidden, and I believe they should be public. And he was making the case, and this is a great point. We've talked about this before, that the government, there's too many secrets.
Yeah, right.
Everything isn't a secret.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. Yeah. It's I think we're bound to learn something, and it will likely go down as there are 3 known people that are actually extraterrestrials. Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, and Drew Barrymore, ironically. They're the ones that are extraterrestrials. Well, we should have known. They tried to tell us. I think that, and it's interesting that there were, Trump going in the first time. It's like, we're going to learn more. We're going to divulge more and everything else. And what do we keep getting? We keep getting the hazy, blurry video, even the government videos, and they say, well, no, those are actually clear. Not really. Nobody knows what they're looking at. Tell us what's going on. Tell us what's actually happening. And I think we're bound to learn it sooner or later anyway. Is it? Nate Bargatze had this in his one stand-up, Greatest Average American, which he taped in the heart of the COVID thing. And he said, look, we learned that there are UFOs and nobody flinched. COVID just, everybody was just focused on COVID. Yeah, we were learning that, the government knows there are UFOs out there. Yeah, nobody flinched. And now I think, because it was always believed that, well, if we divulge whatever secret it might be, the American people can't handle it. It would cause chaos. Look, if you're telling us everybody inside the Beltway is an extraterrestrial, actually, we're not going to flinch. We believe that.
That's why Trump nominated Matt Gaetz.
Exactly.
That's
right.
Yes. This is men. Trump is one of the men in black.
Exactly.
And he believes it's time now that we appoint.
Exactly.
we become definitely a new universe order.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. What would
By the way, I'm thinking that
what does the coin look like? Oh, you know what? There is. By the way, there's already a global coin. It's called Bitcoin. Just to get it started, we'll just start that fire now.
My gosh!
It really is. We're at the point of there needs to be much greater transparency. I don't expect to learn all the government secrets, But not everything, I would agree. Not everything is a secret. Not everything should be a secret. I think we're adults. We can, well, except for the children. Except for the children, we're all adults. Gary Johnson for president. I think the...
Did he say that?
No.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like something he would say. But it's...
I don't remember him saying that.
What's Aleppo? I think the whole idea of, well, it would cause chaos. Really? Have you guys watched your own campaigns? Have you seen the chaos that's out there? We're all adults, and there needs to be greater transparency in government. Remember Obama? There's going to be greater transparency.
Oh, my God.
We're meeting across the street.
We will be the most transparent administration in history.
And they actually moved their meetings to off campus to be less transparent.
Well, look at, talk about transparency. Look at yesterday with Biden with Trump. That's the most transparent they've been. It was a 2-hour meeting. It was completely productive. He's out there smiling and talking back and forth, and what a great relationship they had. That was lunacy yesterday. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It was like, what in the world's going on? And it was, for me, it was the chiclet smile from his caps that he has. And, and there he's got the chiclet, not, you can get different types of caps. You can get, they can look at your teeth and go, okay, you need, what do you want? You want chiclets, or you want teeth that look exactly like, you want caps that looks exactly like the teeth that you have?
Yeah, when I get mine, they're going to actually be chiclets gum.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not going to waste time.
But when he smiled, I flashed back to the horror of Paul Ryan debating him.
Yeah,
that was my nightmare yesterday. I was like, oh no, Biden's back.
Yeah,
but he was, and did he seem more coherent with Trump?
No, this is what I've been saying. After the election, he's going to be the most coherent you've ever seen him.
It is, I think, just another example of Trump being the great uniter. That's what you saw yesterday. Trump, the great uniter. And I'm sure Democrats agree. The Biden smile out there, you could tell that the entire country was together. The Democrats have embraced the presidency of Trump. Yeah, it was a tough loss, but they've embraced it, and they're happy about it, just like Joe Biden, who they elected 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Who they supported 4 years ago.
Right.
And Trump has come along and united the nation, because if Trump wasn't there, he was, look at him yesterday before Trump was there. He was, Biden scowling at the reporters. They asked him, what was the question they asked him about something? He goes, watch out that the camera doesn't hit you in the back.
Yeah, right, yeah.
It's like, he was a sourpuss just 2 days ago, and yesterday nobody has seen him smiling that much.
Right.
This is greatness.
Well, I don't see him smiling around anybody else that much lately.
No. He's happy. The happiest person, it seems like, in the world.
Told you.
On the Democrat side, that Trump is president, was Biden. Did you see that? It was like, okay, this verifies the rumors. Biden and Jill voted for Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because didn't she wear red on election day? It was all red.
Yeah.
Like, something's going on. Something's going on.
They're all extraterrestrials. That's what it is.
Right.
They're all extraterrestrials. That's what's going on here. We're not being led. It's not a new world order. It's a new universe order. The extraterrestrials are all in charge.
Well, and Elon Musk is here to take us back to his home planet. Tell me how a guy just walks in, all of a sudden gets his own rocket ship, government-endorsed rocket ship company.
But yesterday when I saw that going on, I'm like, stop wasting my time with this crap.
Yeah.
Trump, day one, tell us whether there's extraterrestrials or not.
Well, I really thought we were going to learn it the first time. I thought if any president would just, blurt it out, I know I'm not supposed to say it, but boom, and then he drops everything. It would have been Trump.
Didn't he say at one point he's seen no evidence? I thought he said it.
I think he said that. But I mean, then you go into, and this is what RFK Jr. Would like to see, the information that was supposed to come out about the JFK assassination. And RFK Jr. was making the point that both Trump and Biden promised that it would be released as it was supposed to be going into their presidencies, and it didn't happen. I mean, that's one thing RFK Jr. has been pushing, for obvious reasons, been pushing for quite some time. But, you know, on the grand scale of greater transparency. By the way, if we deserve as the American people to know anything, it absolutely is the truth about the assassination of a president. Whatever information is out there needs to be divulged to the American people.
And since it's over 60 years
Exactly.
ago, it probably isn't going to harm America in any way.
Right. Exactly.
Good God.
Right.
Could you imagine 3 centuries from now?
Yeah. They're still please release it.
No, we can't. Look, it's only been 360 years.
Yeah, we're sitting on Mars. Now the life expectancy is 290,000 years.
Spock.
Yeah, exactly.
Find out who killed JFK.
Spock. Why? Why don't we know yet?
We've got to, mister.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, and this is the kind of stuff. Oh, do they overclassify? And that was big during, a couple of years ago. That was, huge.
Right.
Do they?
Well,
of course, they overclassify.
They do, and there's.
But
I have no doubt that they do.
But they overclassify not to protect the American public, but to cover their own posterior.
Exactly where I was going. There's no doubt in my mind, and that's the whole idea of we went through the whole FISA thing, and it was like, this shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
That process of how all that went down and the warrants being granted and then renewed over and over again, and what was known, and all of that has to be reviewed, and there has to be greater transparency. And I'm with you. While it helps them hide things, when you can overclassify, when you can classify just about anything, well, we're not going to talk about this. We can't talk about that. We're the American people. And but even before a committee, an oversight committee, even behind closed doors, they're not telling them the truth.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Most owner-operators leased to larger carriers are paid on a per-mile basis or a percentage of revenue per load. The per-mile basis is most prevalent among larger fleets. Percentage at smaller. Pay per mile tends to dominate discussions about pay just because it's easier to measure, and pay per mile often is wrongly used as the deciding factor in leasing to a carrier. While pay per mile can be a vital factor, it's not a cure for every ill, nor does it mean a big settlement check is coming an owner-operator's way. Why? Because pay per mile always must be considered in balance with gross revenue as well as total costs. Gross revenue can include flat mileage pay that varies by length of haul, percentage revenue pay, and more. Most importantly, though, for every revenue dollar generated, only part of that dollar is profit. But for every extra dollar of cost saved, the entire dollar contributes to profit. Knowing and understanding your cost to operate is fundamental to understanding the true value of any pay package. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up, we'll look at inflation numbers. If you want to get in, we'd love to hear from you. 866-90 Red Eye inflation numbers.
Yeah, everything was right on the mark with the median forecast, but the CPI year over year did go up as the median forecast predicted it would. The previous was 2.4, and it went up to 2.6. You still have core CPI year over year at 3.3, which is too hot for core CPI, quite frankly. The market reaction, it was kind of mixed, but I guess the market's waiting for, okay, now what? Where do you go from here? Because one of the first questions that happened after the election results came in is are they going to change? Is Powell going to remain as Fed chair? And, what's going to happen at the Fed with the incoming administration?
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
Hey, it's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Trump busy making, as we know, cabinet picks and other picks. Let's go to Jimmy in Urbana, Ohio. Jimmy, welcome. You're on Red Eye Radio. Welcome to the show. Hi, Jimmy.
Thank you for your time, fellas. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. What's up?
But I really think Matt Gaetz knew he wasn't going to get confirmed by the Senate. He knew ahead of time, and I think this is almost a brilliant move that President Trump sent him as a sacrificial lamb. That way the Senate could deny him and say, hey, we're not going to rubber stamp anything everything that President Trump wants to do. We're our own body.
Well,
we'll make the decisions.
Why would Matt Gaetz agree to that then? Why would Matt Gaetz agree to be the sacrificial lamb? Because he knows the report is coming out and damaging to him? But then if he did that, we're talking about the ethics complaints against him that New York Times is reporting was supposed to come out on Friday because it'll just be brought up again during the nomination process, and it's all the Democrats will talk about over the next month. I understand all of the what I read yesterday and what you're saying, but I can't come to the final conclusion. I cannot connect all the dots on any of this. That's the problem that I'm having. I don't know why both sides would agree to it then.
Well, exactly. He knows he's toast. He knows he's done anyway. So why not do it? Take one for the team, and then let the Senate stand up, pound their chest, and say, hey.
Well,
we're a separate body.
I'll say this. That's as good of a theory as anything else because people would say, well, why would Trump damage his own reputation or whatever by putting Matt Gaetz in? It doesn't matter. He's not running again, and nobody will remember this if Matt Gaetz, it drops out. Nobody's going to remember this 6 months from now. It won't be an issue. It won't be an issue.
Right.
So if you're saying it's a way for the Senate to pretend that they have their independence from Trump, it's a good theory. I don't buy it, but it's a better theory than anything else that I've heard out there.
Well, and avoiding the ethics report, because there was going to be a vote on it. The problem with that is that now you've got the curiosity up in the liberal media, which was going to be there in the first place, and you've added to it that he's a Trump nominee. So this Trump nominee now has this, and we're not going to see that report. What's in that report? We need to get to the bottom of that report, and we need the leaks. And there's no doubt there will be leaks.
Oh, yeah.
So in that case, why not just leave him in the House and let the report say what it says, and you just kind of go from there?
Right. Because let's say he had to resign from the House. Mm-hmm. You're talking about, the Niceville, Fort Walton Beach, Navarre district, no, Florida, of Florida, that is.
Yeah.
You could, and I don't know exactly what the vote was in that particular district, but you could make the argument that that district that I used to live in. Let me just think about the beaches of Navarre for a moment. Oh yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yes, okay, now back to the show. That's one of the most Republican districts in all of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about the panhandle of Florida, you're not just talking Republican, you're talking probably one of the most conservative districts. That is not, whether Gates is there or not, that there is no way that's falling into Democrat hands.
No, there's no risk of that.
Right. No risk. So, again, I understand what you're saying, and to me, that's sort of the best theory right now. But I still don't buy that theory. That it gives the Senate the way to say, see, we're independent from Trump and we're going to do this. But I don't know if the Senate needs to do that.
I don't. In fact, after the election results, there's zero reason for the Senate to do that.
Yeah.
In fact, quite the opposite. When we talk Collins-Murkowski, I'd be more inclined to believe, all right, Collins and Murkowski have to have different considerations going forward.
Well, we're also forgetting Collins, Murkowski, McConnell. I forgot about McConnell. I forget he's still in.
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
McConnell, Tillis in North Carolina. There's your four right there.
Yep. Yeah.
That make it so he won't be nominated.
Right.
So why do you do it? Forget about what you think about Matt Gaetz, positive or negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not going to get one Democrat vote, and you can't lose 4 votes. And those are 4, I would say, probably reliable anti-Matt Gaetz votes in the Senate. There might be more. But yeah. I don't think you'll ever come down to the vote, because I just don't think it, because it rarely ever happens. The last time was John Tower in 89. And this very rare, only happened 3 or 4 times in American history where somebody has lost the vote.
Right, yeah.
And the last time was because of the allegations of, drinking and basically, I'll just put it this way for Tower, partying too much.
Yeah, right.
And so, you ask, so the theory is why. And that's, the thing was yesterday, it wasn't Democrats trying to come up with the theories. Like Fetterman just said, oh, no, Trump's just trolling. But it was all Republicans trying to figure out, what's the puzzle here? Why is this? What's the puzzle? And I had the same thought that you had. I guarantee this was not Susie Wiles.
No, I can't see her going, great pick.
Yeah, now with the other picks that he's made, that are really good picks.
Right.
And even again with my hesitation towards Tulsi Gabbard. Still, you look at everything, all solid picks, and she could end up being fine. I don't know. You don't know, but I do understand that, as I said earlier, that you have to realize with the Attorney General, remember, it was Trump's Department of Justice that worked against him. And whether it was Rosenstein or Sessions to begin with, they're the ones that got the whole complete lie of Russia collusion and the independent counsel, which helped destroy what he could do in his first term. They're the ones that got it going. And by the time they appointed the special counsel, it was common knowledge the dossier was BS.
Right.
So you look at it from Trump's point of view, I need somebody who's completely loyal to me.
Yeah.
When we see what happened in that particular case.
Well, and you need someone also who's going to set a brand new tone and weed out the rot. All the way through.
Right.
So, we'll see where it goes. I don't expect Matt Gaetz to even get to the confirmation process, the hearing to even happen for him. Could be wrong, but I don't expect that to happen. Because if the votes aren't there, they either know now or they're going to know for sure in the next several days. Because one of the things is you're probably not going to build consensus on this. You know what I mean? It's not like a bill that says, okay, well, if we take this part out or if we readjust this. No. It's a pretty, when we talk about the Attorney General, it's a puzzle. I don't know. I really was Eric Schmidt, one of the senators from Missouri, who withdrew his name from consideration the other day. Said, look, I got elected in 22 and I want to work for the people of my state. So in this case, it's about getting to a vote. And the head count is coming together very quickly. And it's not going to budge. I don't know how you convince these individuals in the Senate to vote for them because of the show that's going to take place between now and the confirmation hearing and all the way through it. It will be the story.
It'll be the only story.
Yep. And you don't want that.
I hate to say it, but the thought that went through my mind was, well, this makes it so all the other nominees will fly through with Republican support,
right?
Including Peter for the Department of Defense,
right?
And then he can pick who he wants for the AG here in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you put one in there, mine might be the most solid one. You put one in there that the Senate can reject.
That by comparison, everybody else looks great,
right? And then you pick your AG because it just doesn't make.
Yeah.
Because you said right as you just said, for 2 months all we're going to hear is this.
It's going to be a trial for 2 months,
right? For trial for 2 months on are these ethics allegations true,
right,
or not? And of course you can make the case. Well, we don't know what's in the report,
right?
And so anything, if you don't see the report, everything, it might leak, but it's still not official if it just leaks.
Right.
But believe me, it's going to leak.
Right.
And that's all you're going to hear. That's all you're going to hear day in and day out.
Yep.
And so you just say, all right, what is the upside for Trump? Because that's what you're looking at. What is the upside for Trump?
Because you have to ask yourself, is that for him being in that role, for Matt Gaetz being in that role, tell me that is worth the fight. You're going to have to demonstrate why going to battle over all that stuff and having that trial play out in the media for the next 2 months is worth it. What he brings to the table is, and it would be a very unique set of properties. You're saying there's nobody else. So, and I haven't even heard the short list. Aside from Eric Schmidt, who dropped out, and I didn't even hear that until he came in a couple of days ago on X and posted that he confirmed that he was withdrawing from consideration. So I don't know where the actual short list is. Matt Gaetz it was a rogue wave yesterday, just out of nowhere. And so I don't know. I don't know who else is on that list, who else is being considered. But somebody demonstrate to me, it would have to be her. Susie Wiles would have to say to a camera, oh, no, I thought he was a great pick. And I'd have to believe it.
Well, she is Pat Summerall's daughter.
Yeah, and I don't see that happening. I mean, I don't believe that's the case. I could be wrong.
866-90 Red Eye.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
Red Eye Radio, he's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. We'll talk a little bit about the inflation numbers. You know, core inflation being at 3.3. Before we go anywhere, I'm just sick and tired of hearing, well, it's 3.3, but that was the expectation.
Yeah.
Still bad.
It's still bad. Yeah.
And everybody seems to be talking. I did see one story that says this could hurt Trump's honeymoon. It's like, Trump's not in office yet.
Yeah.
It's like,
this isn't as a result of his policies.
Yeah, exactly. So, but still the 3.3 in core inflation on top of everything else. That's what you have to look at. You have to look at how inflation has gone since 2021. The 3.3% is based on that huge increase.
Yeah.
Of,
right.
Roughly 20, 25%, whatever it is, depending. Well, core inflation's probably more. If you take the core inflation, that might be near 30%. If you take core inflation since 2021. And so 3.3 on top of that, it's like people are still feeling it.
Well, and the Fed's already dropping rates. Well, What do you think is going to happen? Look, Jerome Powell needs to be gone, not because Trump is coming in. That whole back and forth last week was ridiculous. Jerome Powell needs to be gone because he's never been serious about inflation. Period. And look, I'm no fan of the Fed. I don't know who, again, would be better at the Fed. I can't tell you that. But he's not serious about inflation. And we're seeing that proof play out every day.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara, sort of singing instead of talking, or a hybrid of talking and singing there.
A musical talk show. That sounds horrible. But it's a musical. People say that. Come on, let's go. It's a musical. I'm sorry, are you trying to encourage me to go see it or discourage me to go see it?
So the going through, X is just so hilarious. It may not be for a while though, because you've got liberals now dropping off of X. Joy Reid is now off of X from MSNBC.
Right. Yeah.
That's apparently in the last couple of hours because that just went viral. Everywhere I look, it's like, Joy Reid's left Twitter. X, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. I didn't follow her on X. I thought all the liberals left after the Twitter files and after Elon Musk, settled in. I thought they were all leaving anyway. I can't be a part of this any longer. Because your FBI doesn't control it? Okay. Yeah, no, we know.
Well, at least they are showing some form of equity.
Mm-hmm.
Since they wish to censor, Republicans and conservatives are also self-censoring themselves.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I wonder if CNN's really going to lay off the hundreds that they're talking about and actually major personalities. You saw that, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't know there were hundreds still there. Wow. You have that many people and it's doing that badly?
Well, I'm assuming that 100 isn't the air talent.
Right, of course, yeah.
But when you how do you we've talked about the identity politics, and by the way, we'll get to James Carville talking about that again. He brought that up again, that they've got to get rid of the damn identity politics. Oh, I can't play his audio cuts because he's just cursing. Every other word is F and GD. And
I think he's actually doing that so he won't be played. It's still going viral.
But I have to wonder that they wish to censor the right, but they don't want to debate anything in public. You saw Rogan implying on his podcast that Harris wanted to limit topics.
Right, yeah.
Didn't want to talk about the legalization of weed. I've never seen – is that where they're going now? Look, it hasn't worked calling somebody a fascist and a Hitler because, as we saw yesterday, the current president of the United States was smiling and laughing and jovial and shaking hands and having a lighthearted discussion with Hitler.
I guess it was Hitler Day at the White House. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it was.
Yesterday was Hitler Day. Yesterday was Recognize a Fascist Day at the White House.
Right, exactly. Well, again, equity.
Do you know how ticked off Democrats are? But Democrats really have gone underground. They don't want to hear anything that's going on. They really don't. I mean, they're as Maureen Dowd said way back when, all of her liberal friends, that when news gets bad, they just turn off the media completely.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting? I mean, we live in a fascinating world. We really do. Republicans, for example, and conservatives, all they want to do is play what the Democrats are saying.
Yeah.
If you've seen it, you go over it. If you can go and look. I mean, the RNC isn't posting a lot now, but the RNC, which is I think their page is RNC Research on Twitter. You go to it, and during the campaign, everything Democrats were saying, they've got the video and the audio of it. They're not trying to hide it. And now you've got Democrats saying, nope, I'm off X. Nope, I'm not going to debate. Nope, I'm not going to debate. And so they don't want to be. We've seen it with Harris. We've seen it with Biden. He didn't want to do interviews. Harris doesn't want to do interviews. The media is now saying, okay, we don't want to actually debate in the arena of ideas. So are they saying that, look, since the fascist thing hasn't worked anymore, we're going to have a political party that just doesn't say anything and hope to get elected? We won't debate. We won't tell you what we believe. It's fascinating times that you have one party that wants to censor everything, the other side. They want to censor the other side, and now they're starting to self-censor themselves and don't want to be out in public to tell them what they're doing. The other side, Republicans, conservatives, number one, are as loud as could possibly be, and they want to make sure that you know what the Democrats and the liberals are saying.
Yeah. It was the biggest part of the Trump campaign in terms of what they put out there was Kamala Harris. The star of their ads was not Donald Trump, it was Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So
I have never seen that it was almost as close to maybe a couple of weeks before when Trump was making the final argument, and he did a couple of where he did 60 seconds or whatever. You had almost as close to as I've ever seen 100% of those ads that were being put out, especially online, that were all her talking.
Yeah.
And before that, it was all Biden talking.
Right.
It's what they were saying in their own words, which is really, I think, the most interesting thing. We talk about the things that really don't matter right now for the success of the Republicans, like the Matt Gaetz thing, the left will go nuts about, but nobody will remember that 4 months from now.
Right.
That's not going to be, none of this is going to be an issue. Nominees that are viewed as controversial. Nobody remembers even anybody else who was pulled by Biden. Nobody remembers it.
Right.
I mean, the partisans may remember it, but the public doesn't.
Well, I mean, the only reason, if you look at Merrick Garland, the only reason that the conversation around Merrick Garland stayed around is because the Democrats brought him back as the AG.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was nominated for the Supreme Court, when they put him up there. So I really believe, right now the left, Carville's going to do what Carville's going to do. He's going to be, he's been, I don't know what makes him happy.
He's a liberal.
And
nothing.
Exactly. He's angry all the time. If she had won, he'd be screaming about how she should have done better. But the fact of the matter is that there is no way to regroup as a party. I don't know. I don't have any answers as to who might be the future of the party.
Well, I don't know what ideas are the future of the party. It's very
tough.
Because,
that person is going to have to carry those ideas. Are we talking Shapiro? Because a few things are going to have to change if that's going to happen.
No, I saw on X yesterday that they're the Democrats are trial ballooning whether AOC is the future.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
But how do you have a future? This to me is the biggest political story for the future because the election's done now. Everything's done. Mm-hmm. I got what I wanted, and that is lawfare is not going to continue, and the weaponization of government is going to be put on hold. That was the major reason that I voted here. So it's going to be up and down, whatever. I'll probably agree with Trump 80% of the time, and probably like last time, disagree with him 20% of the time. Where most Republican presidents, it's probably I agree with them 60 to 70% of the time, and disagree 30 to 40. If you're just off the top of my head, from the last 20 years or so, and so but basically the Republican Party is going to stay the same on the issues. The issues aren't really going to change for the Republicans, but it's the Democrats that are really the big question for the future, for 26 and 28 and into the future. Yeah. And does it depend on the economy? Yeah. But if your goal is to expand wealth, and that's the goal, odds are, in the private sector, odds are your economy is going to do well. Mm-hmm. But for the Democrats, I have no idea where they stand. Where are they going to go? All the major issues that they stood on, they reversed in order to try to beat Trump and then denied that that's what they were doing. And everybody knows it.
Right.
So where do you go as a Democrat? You go into your basement and you get angry and you scream and yell. But, here's a story on Carville. He argued that President-elect Trump's decisive sway with male voters is proof that the party needs to overhaul its messaging. Earlier this year, Carville made headlines when he warned that preachy females and feminine woke messaging from Democrats
preachy females
were driving away male voters. After Trump's victory, Carville has said Democrats have the stench of weakness. He was on PBS and was asked if his past comments, last spring you said, a suspicion of mine is that there are too many preachy females dominating the culture of the Democratic Party.
Sorry, ladies, he's not single.
Do you stand by that? Females? Well, would you look at our male vote? Would somebody just take a look at how we did with males and how we did with non-white males and tell me that the Democrats don't have a messaging problem, that the message comes across as too feminine? He continued, there is not a person in the world that I've talked to that doubts that I'm right. Oh, sure there are. The Democrats. What's he talking about?
Right.
Right now, I mean, I say provocative things to get a provocative reaction. Is somebody really going to tell me that we don't have a problem with male voters? We could certainly shovel the entire identity politics about 50 feet into the ground and bury it.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can't start by doing things like that. Well, he's saying they should bury it, but they can't bury it because it's the absolute core of what they believe. And if you've been a long time listener to the show, you may say, hey, you guys actually were right on that one. Sometimes, sometimes we are. But we early on were on, for decades we've been on the victim-oppressor relationship, which then leads to the identity politics, which is you judge people by groups and not individuals. That both the victim-oppressor relationship, and that you judge people by groups and not individuals, that's your problem right there. And what's your problem? Forget about ideology, because it doesn't matter what the topic is. If that's your goal, is to create more victims every day because you figure that will expand your base, and at the same time, judging people by groups and not individuals, you will constantly keep dividing what people think in your party, and it will do the opposite of uniting. It will divide. And as a political party, you cannot, year after year, decade after decade, your goal is to divide people. Trump won. We joke about it when we say, Trump the great uniter, but there is a solid point there based in truth. Trump united the nation based on the issues that people believe in. Now, they might not have believed in them as much when Trump was president the first time, but then they saw what Democrats did, and they went, oh, my God.
Well,
Trump was right.
As I've been saying, it's been a reckoning. I think Trump has had a couple of reckonings along the way, as being targeted, because he's been targeted, at every level, including 2 recent assassination attempts. But he sees also that the American people are more and more now on his side.
Yeah.
And are not on the side of the left. And it's unprecedented. What Carville doesn't see, or at least he doesn't say it, is we've never seen this before. And I believe he's smart enough to see it, given who he is and what he does and what he's done for years. You break this down, there is something at the core behind this. Trump's not a new guy, a new rock star like Obama was when he came in. No. Not only is he not new, he's had everything thrown at him and won in a massive way in terms of comebacks.
And you can make the case that he was the most demonized and hated American president in modern political history.
I mean,
you
seriously.
Can make that argument. And here he has rebounded, the greatest comeback of all time. Why? I like it. They go, well, it wasn't that Trump's great. It's that we failed. Well, that's part of the reason. But you failed, and Trump got elected because people realized, oh, Trump wasn't wrong.
Exactly.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. So, yeah, Carville coming out and saying you could, bury the identity politics. It's interesting that, and I hope any of our Democrat friends, but when you listen to us, and I know probably one of your first reactions are, you guys are just partisan. But if you look at everything that we've talked about, the problem with the Democratic Party is Democrats have backed us up many times before. And a week and a couple of days after this election, Democrats continued to back up exactly what we said was the problem with the Harris campaign.
Sure, yeah.
And in general with liberalism, and there it is right there from Carville, lifelong Democrat, lifelong, insider in the Democratic Party. He knows, sorry, you're a bunch of damn racists. That's what identity politics is. That's why you got to drop it. But how do you drop it? You can't. That's the problem that they have. And that's where I look at this and I say, 5 years out, where's the Democratic Party? People will say, well, the Republican Party has become the party of Trump. It's just about the identity of Trump. No. J.D. Vance could win the presidency. DeSantis could win the presidency.
Yep.
Elon Musk can't win the presidency.
Well, no.
For those of you who know, he's not, he's
but he
an American citizen, but he wasn't born here.
He can be the puppet master.
He could be the puppet. He could be.
Saw that.
He could be he's the puppet master with the string. That's why he's down at Mar-a-Lago. And,
right.
He's the puppet master.
He's the puppet master.
He's controlling everything.
Yeah.
Trump's just a marionette.
They renamed it Musk-a-Lago. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
But what do they stand for? I mean, where do they stand on the issues? And he's like, you got to drop identity politics. How can you drop it when that's the core of what you believe, and that's all wrapped up in the victim-oppressor relationship?
You've taught generations to think that way. You're going to tell them, sorry, we were wrong?
Right. You need to be an autonomous individual, and race doesn't matter.
Go with that.
Yeah, go with that. See how that works.
Let me make some popcorn first, but go with that.
Right.
I want to see that. Please make that happen.
Call and join the conversation. 1-866-90-RED-EYE. Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you want. So that's what I look at. The biggest political story for me, at least, because it's not about what the story is of the day. We know what the stories are of the day, and we're not really going to get into all of the nuts and bolts of the success of the Trump campaign for another year or so, or the Trump administration for a year or so when we see where it's going, inflation, job growth, whatever. But really, for me, when you look at it, it's the next 5 years, where's the Democratic Party going? You and I have said they cannot back off from identity politics, as James Carville said yesterday. They have to. They got to bury that 50 feet deep. They can't. It's like, as I saw it yesterday, Seth Moulton, I guess you've got Democrats talking about the fact that he needs to be kicked out of Congress because he no longer believes that boys can be girls because a boy says so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the insanity continues. They're not only have they shown no inclination of reversing, they keep doubling down on the insanity that just lost them this election.
Yeah, it's, again, think about what that would be if they're going to change directions and do away with identity politics and do away with their core, their very principal pillars. I mean, you're talking about burning it all to the ground and starting over with who? Who do you expect is going to show up? Because you might as well call yourself the No Labels Party. Because who's going to want to run? Who's going to want to jump in?
There was a story out yesterday or 2 days ago. Democrats are calling it, this was the no comment campaign.
Yeah.
No comment, no comment.
Right.
And we go, wait a minute. She said she was going to build a wall. That's a comment. She was going to build a wall quicker than Trump could. She was going to be tougher on the border than Trump originally. She was not going to ban fracking. And then she had to evolve on that one. Well, I'm not going to ban fracking. We're just not going to expand oil and natural gas production.
Right.
Well, then you're going to have to ban fracking.
Exactly.
No, we're not. Of course you would. No, you don't know that. I mean, that's
just because we're going to make it illegal doesn't mean we're going to ban it. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's so you and so they actually came aboard, and nobody bought into the fact that when we were saying Kamega, I'll still remember when we did that. Remember that morning? I was telling my dad about it yesterday, and I said, I said we brought up the Kamega thing, and I said we were just an hour into it.
Yeah,
you and I and we were like Kamega this, Kamega that, and it was some woman. I don't know if how she emailed or Twitter or whatever, or X. She just went crazy. Stop it! We get it! We get it! We get it! Mm-hmm. And she tried to make the argument that she was a Republican, but she was sick of us saying it after an hour. And my father said, "You really? Do you think she was a Republican?" I went, "No, she was a Democrat. She knew that was an effective point that we had brought up, and everybody got the joke, and we moved on after a couple of days. And then if she brought it up, we'd resurrect it, but we didn't pound on it for like weeks. It was just extremely humorous, and you could tell that she was irritated by it and was a Democrat, and of course irritated because it's effective, and that's what you find out.
What put it over the top is the fact that we pointed out that Trump truly is the great uniter.
Exactly.
That was the first time when we said you can't really argue that, and then the election results kind of sealed that deal.
Yeah. So, but nobody bought into the fact that Democrats had become pro-fracking and were going to be tougher on the border than Republicans, and had completely abandoned defund the police. Mm-hmm. Even if you have some Democrats now stating, well, we've been wrong on that, they're only changing their mind because the voters have sent the message. It's not what they truly believe. Now, if you look at I made this point, but I didn't finish it completely. If you look at they can't find who the new blood of the Democratic Party is. Mm-hmm. Democrats have wrote about that in the last couple of days. Mm-hmm. Who's the new generation? Well, the new generation believes in the same issues as the old generation. In fact, actually, the old generation, which was Biden, and I guess since Kamala is 60, you could say she's part of the old generation. They agree in this last 4 years with the insanity of the new generation.
Right.
So if the issues have failed you with the old generation, the issues are going to fail you with the new generation. And Democrats' response to that is, yeah, but you have a party that just worships Trump, whatever he does. No, it's not true. You have independent thinkers in there, but they do agree on the same issues, not just because Trump agrees with them, but because they're longstanding issues of the Republican Party. And you have people like his surrogates, Elon Musk, and you have, Ramaswamy. You look at J.D. Vance. They share probably a core of 80%, 80 to 90% on the issues. Mm-hmm. And if you look at DeSantis, there's really a lot of difference between DeSantis and Trump if you look at where they actually stand on the issues.
Right.
Yeah. And so you look at it, but the issues, the core issues of the Republican Party is what won them this election. Mm-hmm. I believe those issues they're long-standing issues. They're going to stay. The reason that they've won on those core long-standing issues that disagree with the Democrats is because reality hit the hypotheticals that the Democrats were attempting to sell you over the last 40 years, and now we know they don't work.
Right.
Whether it's the border, whether it's inflation, we know how we got there. And so you look at it, that's my great question. Where in the world, people talk about a third party, you may have a problem with two parties if the Democrats can't figure out where they stand on the issues.
Because I don't know how you reinvent the Democratic Party. Because you would have to throw it all out. Their very cornerstones have become identity politics and radical ideas promoted as a result of those the same principles within identity politics. You don't just go in and go, hey, to all the millions, tens of millions, generations, that we said, you've got to think this way or else. We don't really think that way. And you shouldn't either.
Right. Everything that you've been taught at these liberal universities is wrong.
Right. And remember, part of how they sold it was it's part of your DNA. You can't change it.
Right.
And how do you? So now we're going. Yeah, we were wrong about that, and this is going to be. And then let's say that's not going to happen. Let's say they did do that. Then what? Then what do they actually promote?
Right. Oh, I can see when look, everything that we've told you is wrong. You need to love everyone. You need to embrace everyone as an individual. Identity politics needs to be gone, and that includes Jews.
Right.
No!
Well, no, that's it's there is, because remember they all the protesters, silence is violence. Now we're to the point of pro-Hamas anti-Semites out there protesting their hatred, protesting in favor of their hatred, how they support the enemy and hate the Jewish people. Right. How do you change that? How do you actually go in and change those radicals and say that those ideas are no longer welcome in our party?
Right.
You can't do that.
What you're going to have to say is that our anti-racist movement was racist.
Right.
And
in order to have a true change, you have to have a change of heart, and you have to demonstrate that for people to follow you. There's no way to do that.
By the way, their anti-racist movement is racist. Exactly. But they would have to explain that. How do you do that and then form a core of a new political party which embraces the issues? That's why, look, J.D. Vance was popular not because he just worshiped Trump as a deity. He was there because he could explain exactly what Trump and the Republican Party is about.
Right.
He could articulate. That's
right.
why he won. Think about this. Yesterday was another perfect example, Eric. It's complete. It's just bizarre. They can't communicate the simplest messages. Karine Jean-Pierre. Oh, no. No, Biden believes he is definitely a threat to democracy.
See his face?
An hour before, he's laughing. He's got that chiclet smile on. He's smiling. They're shaking hands. Oh, best of luck to you. You're gonna do great. I wish I could be a part of your administration. All right, maybe I'm taking that a little bit too far, but I mean, this
guy's going to make America great again.
Right. It's right. It's this incredible love fest, and it's like, no, he's still a threat to democracy, and he's a fascist, and he's Hitler. Oh, welcome to the White House. Oh, they can't communicate the damn simplest things.
He was saying, "Welcome back."
Yeah,
welcome back.
I wanted to play John Sebastian.
Yeah. Exactly.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I know why Biden did what he did.
Yeah, we know why he did.
I've been saying it all along. I know exactly how that went down. And now everybody else does too.
What, him and Trump are secret lovers?
Exactly. I wasn't going to go there. It's kind of weird. But
that is uncomfortable.
Fine. I don't know. Just thinking maybe that he just wanted Trump to win.
I did.
Oh no, we need to.
I did theater of the mind for a half
go
a
down
second.
That road.
Yeah. We know he didn't want Kamala to win. We all know what it is. We all know the truth.
His party came at him, and there was no way he was going to let that stand. Yeah. So he endorsed her, knowing his party didn't want her. He didn't want her. It's all of these things were obvious to me, and now yesterday it was like, told you. There's, and now it's going to be. It's just wait for it. Well, of course I could have won.
Yeah.
Now he can walk the fence and say, and they're already saying it. Well, she didn't have enough time. But they're blaming him. They're saying he should have gotten out sooner.
Wow. He's going to write a book next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I could have won.
Yes.
No. Yes, I would have won.
I would have won. I would have won.
Now, here's the question. Who's going to buy the book?
Well,
where's the audience for that book?
Apparently somebody bought his son's paintings. They were color by number, weren't they? But that's exactly where he is mentally. You saw it on his face yesterday.
Oh, he was so happy. I mean, ecstatic.
He deliberately put a Trump hat on at one point. He didn't take it and throw it across the room or throw it under the table and say, hey, feed that to the dog, pal. He put it on and smiled for the camera.
Just for we have to sit there. I've always been told, don't let the moment go by. Enjoy the moment.
Well,
this is part of
that.
Well,
and his wife, the first lady, on Election Day, wears not only red, the kind of red that space satellites can spot.
I mean, known as Trump, not even Republican
it's
red.
MAGA red.
Trump, MAGA red.
It's
I like that MAGA red.
Crayola actually changed the name of the color officially, MAGA red. I mean, do you need evidence, really?
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You saw Jack Smith dropping the asking the court to drop their appeal.
Yeah.
So
right.
That's gone. It means federal
over.
cases are completely gone.
Yeah, it's over.
And the state cases are going to be gone, too. One way or another, they're going to be gone.
Yeah,
so
I don't see them going anywhere.
Yeah, because I saw yesterday, so who wrote it? It was National Review, Wall Street Journal. Does this mean, the local cases, the Bragg case and the Letitia James case? Well, it's either over or they've set him a trap. I go, what trap? There's no trap.
Right.
I mean, they may think there's a trap. There's no trap on those. The state ones are going to be blown out. The Mershon case.
Yeah.
That's going to be, it doesn't matter. Now, until he is sentenced, they can't appeal it, but they can appeal the immunity part of it. They can appeal.
Right.
Which they already have.
Mm-hmm.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here, as always.
Thank you.
I'm just still reading the story still out there. Lichtman blames bad election prediction on conservative media disinformation and Elon Musk. We talked about that the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
And Alan Lichtman, who this guy's always right on the elections. Trump's going to lose.
Yeah.
Then when his prediction was wrong, he said, well, we didn't expect this amount of disinformation from, X and Elon Musk.
Right.
Shut up.
Right. Yeah. I love how the liberals went from nobody's on X after Elon Musk bought it to he's changing elections on X. Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah. I mean,
that's a great point. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Nobody's on X.
Everybody-
X influenced
Yeah.
the election like nothing else ever has.
We've never seen this. We didn't expect that. We didn't account for that. We thought nobody was using it anymore. Usage at an all-time low. No, that's not. We didn't expect it to change the election. Yeah.
In other news, Special Counsel Jack Smith is asking an appeals court to halt his appeal against President-elect Trump for his alleged mishandling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago.
Mm-hmm.
Motion was filed by Smith in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. It's done.
Yeah.
There.
That's over.
Meanwhile, the whole Judge Mershon thing.
Yeah.
I was reading here. I was like, that's where I read it. I read it in Breitbart is where they said either Mershon could drop it or set a trap for Trump. I'm like, what's the trap?
Yeah, I don't know what the trap would be.
Well, the trap would be keep it open and then in 2029.
Oh, okay.
Come back at him. I'm like, well, that's not a trap. We know that all the time. As soon as that happens, you file an immediate appeal, and boom, this it goes up and it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here's the problem is until he is, because people are like, well, he could appeal now. He can't appeal until he is sentenced.
Right.
Now he can appeal. He can appeal on the immunity ruling.
He could appeal that immediately.
Right. He could appeal that immediately, which again would go up to the Supreme Court. And so it'll be interesting to see that. That's why there's no decision being made. When's he supposed to be back? Is it next week?
That was the 19th.
Yeah. Where are we? The 14th. Okay.
Yeah.
Next week.
The Trump team had asked for that delay, and he granted the delay. And I believe it's the 19th. So we'll see. Again, if he comes back, and his decision, and he rules against Trump on that, on the immunity thing, they can appeal immediately, which they will.
Right.
Of course. So I don't know.
Does that mean if he comes out and says, okay, sentencing is going to be on the 26th, that they can, at that point?
Yeah, I think they would go.
Yeah,
I think it would be an immediate appeal to try and get ahead of that.
So as soon as he does that, and then as soon as he sentenced him, if he sentenced him and said, even if there was no jail time, well, he's not going to go to jail.
Yeah.
But if there was no jail time, which many people suspect.
Yeah. Yeah, the court records show November 19th. So.
Okay. But the immunity he doesn't need for the final resolution, which would be sentencing in the case, only for the appeal on the specifics of that case.
Right. Yeah.
Which, again, is just horrible. I mean,
yeah.
I saw Jonathan Turley. Yeah. Jonathan Turley. There are so many reversible errors, and we've gone all through them in the whole thing about the Stormy Daniels,
right,
and everything there, and it's just like it's the most bizarre thing, and it's going to get thrown out. It'll be eaten up in court. It may not even make it to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The whole fraud thing, what was it, the
Letitia James case?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one is boom. I mean, that one's just dumb.
Well, they really don't have, media is kind of covering them, but really there's no energy in these cases whatsoever.
That's a great point. The media has lost any interest in it.
Right.
They really have.
People like Turley and McCarthy over at National Review, they're doing what they've always done because they do that. They actually do the analysis of it and break it down and show you where the flaws are. But the media really hasn't. I mean, they're doing the story, but it's not. It's almost like a footnote type coverage. Because I think everybody sees the writing on the wall. These are going nowhere. They started with nothing, and they're going nowhere to begin with. And after the election, they're really not going anywhere. And, if you're Alvin Bragg, you have to be looking at this going, and Mershon as well. We thought we were heroes. We thought we were going to do something and change the election. Nope. And, it all starts with a big nothing and is going to end with a big nothing. Really. It's going to go out like a nothing. And so we'll see. I am curious to see what Mershon decides on the 19th. Does he decide against Trump, knowing the immediate appeal on immunity would strike it down, but he's not going to be a part of helping Trump in any way? I just throwing that out there. It's just a question. I don't know. But he was working at every step with Alvin Bragg to make this thing happen and bring those convictions about. It's ridiculous the way this thing went down. Just insane. And Dershowitz. It's like, are you kidding me? And Turley, again, we talk about the reversible errors and all of everything that's wrong with it, which is pretty much everything.
Well, as we know, the non-disclosure agreements and payoffs aren't against the law,
right?
Which was pointed out.
Right.
And then they take that and say, yeah, but it doesn't matter because he did that in order to break campaign finance law.
Right. Yeah.
Which is like, you can't make that case.
Right.
You can't
Right.
sign one into the other. I mean, it's just, it was so bizarre.
Well, it's like the Letitia James case and fraud. Well, then every negotiation on the planet, or at least in the state of New York for now, would be under review in her office.
Yeah, when we and thanks for the many letters that we got when we explained that Letitia, that James case on the the fraud. And I think the most hilarious part was, bankers actually testified, said, no, there was no fraud. That was just his, what he thought the properties were worth.
Right.
And the disclaimer was put on it.
Right.
This is what I believe it's worth. And we have stated, and I've told many of my friends in New York, they go, what does this mean? I said, well, what I can see as a precedent it sets is that because this is really fascinating, by what Letitia James said and prosecuted, any MSRP on any vehicle that's sold in New York, any of those dealerships or the manufacturers are committing fraud.
Right.
Because nobody sells it for that high.
Right.
You're setting the worth of something in order to get people to believe they need to pay closer to that amount. As if that's the actual value, and if they pay less than it, they're getting a deal. That's fraud.
Well, every single case of borrower and lender, when you talk about borrowing something against a property, if you're going to take a mortgage out or whatever it is, because due diligence is required on everyone's part, on both sides, in any equation like that. The bank's not going to go, oh, okay, all right. You say it's worth $5 billion. Okay, here's $5 billion. They're going to go through. They have an entire building filled with people, the underwriters, and their entire side is about due diligence because they're the ones lending the money. And whether it's insurance, whether it's borrowing money from a bank, and there are no claims by other parties that he committed fraud against them. None.
And you can make the case, as we did also, that if you protest your property taxes, and I gave the example that I have because I still think it's a great example. and I'm just going to use this isn't the figure of my house, but let's say this goes back about 8 years ago, and I got my property tax bill, and I went, let me do this, and I went and found different comps, and they were telling me my house was worth $100,000. Okay, just hypothetical, they're $100,000. Well, I looked at different comps out there and went, I can make the argument that it's only worth $50,000. I mean, it was a huge difference. You know, it was like I could make the case through looking at different comps that it was actually in the case it was actually $70,000 less. And I'm like, wow. I've got the comps. Remember, I'm using their statistics. I'm using their comps. But I was thinking, okay, I can make the case that it's 70,000 lower. Well, let's take a shot at it. Now, the problem was I thought that we could negotiate somewhere in between. Isn't how it works. It's either yours or theirs.
Right.
And I lost, but I lost. There were, 3 of the county appraisers. I lost 2-1. I got one to agree with me. But I lost 2-1. So the official government agency said, no, it's worth $100,000, not $50,000.
Right.
Under New York state law, I could face fraud. Now, I will say this. I knew that my house was not worth that little. I knew it. But I said I can prove it with the comps, with what they gave me. That's all I have, right? That's the accounting that I have, and I'm using their accounting. I'm using their comps.
Right.
I didn't make it up. I didn't use Zillow for it. I used what they did, and I searched and found it. I went, okay. But it didn't matter. The official government figure is the figure of what your house is worth once they make that decision, right?
Yeah,
or
based
appraised
on,
it.
for tax purposes.
For
yes.
tax purposes, right. Well, I was trying to lowball them, right? You could make the case I was trying to commit fraud against the government.
Right.
I better shut up because maybe some liberal in Texas, we can get McNamara for fraud.
Exactly. Well, no, actually, I pointed out time and time again, don't believe that this is isolated to New York and Letitia James. If you had in any state someone who wants to go after a political enemy, then do it.
Yep.
This is where we'll take it. We'll make up a case. We'll build a case based on what's been going on for forever, since capitalism, since business has been around. We'll basically go into negotiations and claim fraud.
Right, exactly.
You're claiming it's worth this. Well, that's fraud when it's proven that it's not. Well, I mean, my gosh, that's all over the place.
Well, Mike Wolf and Danielle on American Pickers for the stuff they've done in New York may do life in prison.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if you're buying or selling anything.
Yeah, exactly. You're negotiating.
Right.
Well,
every account on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
I mean, there you have it.
There's a reason it's the first case of fraud in New York that was ever filed like this.
Let's take it to the retail level. You charge this amount, yet then you went a month later 50% off.
Yes. Yeah. That's a great.
Which
I like
proves
that.
it was never worth that amount that you were charging other people. That's fraud against the people who bought it at full retail price.
And the victims would be the class action suit of victims of fraud.
Exactly.
Would be anybody who bought it at that regular price.
Right. And that's who the AG would represent.
Yeah.
That's madness.
I know. And that's what they're doing.
Because if you know anything about anything, even collectibles, watch a couple of episodes of Antiques Roadshow. They'll tell you. Well, sometimes the market is hot for something. By the way, the market value is whatever someone is willing to pay. When it comes to collectibles, well, what's the amount? I don't know. They paid ungodly amounts for a jersey worn by Michael Jordan. Rory Gallagher's guitar sold for, I think, the highest price of any guitar ever. All right. Well, someone was willing to pay it. That's the value.
John Voight's car, George Costanza bought. Remember that? On
The
Seinfeld?
wrong John.
Jon. It's John. Ah!
Yeah.
Seinfeld laughing at him. Get out of the car. 866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at JJ Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on compliance, safety, accountability. Compliance, Safety, Accountability, or CSA, is the FMCSA Safety Compliance and Enforcement Program. Its goal is to hold motor carriers and drivers accountable for highway safety and to reduce crashes, injuries, and fatalities on our roads. CSA does this by assessing the safety performance of motor carriers and drivers based on data collected during roadside inspections, crash reports, and FMCSA investigations. Based on the data that is compiled, motor carriers are assigned a score. The carrier is then grouped with other carriers who have had a similar number of safety events. Carrier scores within the group are then ranked to determine intervention priority. Low scores are better, so carriers with the highest scores are those that are most likely to be targeted for intervention by the FMCSA. Interventions range in severity and may include warning letters, roadside, off-site, or on-site inspections, civil penalties, or operation out-of-service orders. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just reading this from Fox. Jesse Waters, as they talk about the Department of Government Efficiency and where taxpayer money has gone. $500,000 to study if selfies make you happy.
Actually, they don't make me happy.
$1 million to study if quail are frisky if you give them Coke. $20,000 for drag shows in Ecuador. $80K to ask taxi drivers in Ghana if climate change makes it harder for them to drive, and $500K for Fauci to create transgender monkeys. That's the one. Yeah.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yeah, so I'm laughing here at what we just read before, and from Fox about where the money has gone, and this is all about the Department of Government. I almost said equity, efficiency. We already have the equity one. And already I saw, I forgot who the Democrat senator was yesterday saying, well, this isn't really a department. It's not really a department, you know. It's not a department. This really has no power to do anything. And I will say that some people that are for this are mistaken. They don't know. There are a lot of people that don't know that this is not a department of government.
Right.
Elon Musk and Ramaswamy are doing this outside the government. Nobody's being paid. Now, they are consulting with the Office of Management and Budget, but they're not part of the government, and nothing that they say, because I've seen a lot, well, Elon Musk's going to come in and he's going to cut this. No, he's not.
No.
He's going to suggest, and they're going to publicize, and they're going to do what we just did right there. They're going to take a list of a bunch of different things. But this is what the government this week is spending money on. Now, it's entertaining, but it's also, when we just read you some of the things they're going to spend money on, you're like, well, that's crazy. The difference is, I had mentioned yesterday about when I started talk radio in the late 80s and then early 90s, every year we called it the pig book would come out. It was the pork book. Pork, dumb things that we spend money on. And all talk radio would talk about it for a day or two, and then it's gone. You don't talk about it for another year until it comes out the next year. And then you talk about it, and then it disappears for a year. Social media has changed everything. This is what's terrifying Democrats right now. Social media has changed everything. If you're going to see panic, and I know you're going to say it's not possible to see panic like we've never seen before because it's been absolutely insane, but you're going to see panic big time, and it's going to continue because the media, the mainstream, the radical leftist mainstream media has now realized they don't set the agenda anymore.
Right.
That's why they're calling for, as you saw, think about this, whether it was John Kerry and Hillary Clinton talking about the fact that we need to jail people for misinformation. I think it was John Kerry it was John Kerry who said the truth is getting in the way of building consensus.
Yeah.
I think they had, was it NPR or PBS?
That
the
free
same thing.
speech, he was saying free speech.
Free speech, right.
Is blocking
Right.
our ability.
Right. Free speech is blocking our ability.
He used the word blocking.
Yeah, he did say free speech. I think it was one of the heads of PBS or NPR that said the same, that the truth, that we focus too much on the truth, which gets in the way of building consensus.
Right.
I mean, that they're terrified.
Yeah.
They're terrified by it. One of the best things I've seen in my life for free speech is X and the community notes that come with it.
Yep.
Absolutely wonderful.
Elon Musk talked about that when he was on Rogan recently, and he said a lot of people would come in and said, hey, can you take that off of my account? He said, no, it's not off of my account. If I post something, community notes can do whatever, they're going to do, whatever, however that's going to play out is going to do that, and I want that for everybody. It's going to be full transparency.
Right. They get to fact check it. Mm-hmm. Now, it takes I know one of the things, but it gets to be too complicated. No, it isn't. I do it every day, and Eric does it every day, and I'm a lot smarter than Eric, and he's able to do it.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing. I was just saying what a wonderful person you were.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And how much I love you and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't understand the words you were saying.
Okay. But you can figure it out. And all the excuses they give is because they're terrified. And so what you have an opportunity, and I don't know where it's going to go, but I know it's not a bad thing, because when we did that right before the bottom of the hour and went through, some of the things the government's spending money on, from Fox, $500K to study if selfies make you happy, $1 million to study if quail are frisky if you give them Coke. Now, I don't know if that means Coke or the Coke. I don't know what Coke that is.
Well, I hope it wouldn't be Coca-Cola, because that would be wrong.
Yes. Too much caffeine.
Well, first of all,
those quail.
How do they snort?
But it's humorous. It's entertaining. Mm-hmm. But it's also a serious message. You laugh and you go, well, this is crazy, though. This is absolutely crazy.
How did Hunter Biden get a grant for quail? In the first place.
So the point is,
yeah,
you can continually do this day in and day out, and on social media, pound it day in and day out. Create something that's entertaining. Create something that people would go to every day and say, I wonder what Musk and Ramaswamy put down there today. I wonder what crazy things. I know it's something we'll probably do.
It'll be a great awareness campaign.
Right. We'll go through and go, here's what they found today that we spend the money on. It's a great awareness campaign that is, number one, deadly serious as to what we're doing to future generations with the money that we're spending. It points out the insanity of government not taking putting the burden of what we want today and also just crazy things on future generations. It points out you want a constitutional loophole? You want the biggest constitutional loophole I've ever seen? Taxation without representation on future generations without their consent.
Right. Well, the great thing about the Department of Government Efficiency is it points out what once was, which is unburdened by what has been spent.
Exactly. See? If she would have done that and talked about the budget, it might have been better for her. At least we would have said, well, that makes sense. Because that did make sense. But it's also very entertaining, and that's what you want to communicate a message effectively. But what we have seen here, and this is why you're going to see this panic and this screaming and this, okay, we need to punish disinformation. We need to regulate. We need to regulate X. We need to regulate what's going on the internet, is because they can't control it. And understand that their other fear is they clearly understand that Republicans and conservatives are not afraid to promote what Democrats and liberals actually believe, that they are so insane you don't have to lie about them. You can just tell the truth about this is what liberals are trying to sell you. They can't defend it, so they demonize you or name call.
Yeah.
As we've seen. And one of the most obvious cases is the radical transgender movement. Well, sorry, you saw it the other day on CNN. Sorry, a boy can't be a man. They're not boys. Transphobe. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and listen.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but you're lying and you're wrong.
Right.
Scientifically, you're wrong. You can scream and yell. You can be a big baby, but you're still wrong. And the public knows it. They can't control the narrative anymore. And you and I had said this a few years back when we were still getting the calls, well, Republicans are never going to win because they can't control the media. And we would say, and we got pushback on it, we said, no, you don't understand what's going on. It's changing. The internet is changing everything. And then after the whole Twitter files, and then Elon Musk, boom, absolutely, it was gone for the radical mainstream media.
We've never had a greater ability to find the truth.
Yep.
Ever.
Easier than ever.
And we just have to have the will, and it appears more and more people have that will. Anecdotally, I'd noticed a greater awareness about certain things and certain stories. People that I come across and people that I know, people that are close to me, in fact. And I thought to myself, all right, things are changing. For years, actually, after the advent of smartphones, I just scratched my head saying, people have a computer in their hand, and they still don't seek the truth. Well, now that appears to be changing, and I think you see the results of the election, and you really can't deny that. Whether I hope it maintains, I hope it keeps going in that direction. Because your dad was right. People want to be BS'd, but when you BS them about what they actually can see, the reality, whatever it is, Biden's fine. Inflation is a good thing. It's transitory. It's going away. The border is secure. When you tell people your eyes aren't seeing what your eyes are seeing, well, that's when they draw the line.
Well, and
you can get away with a political lie. Listen, I'm going to make everything, I'm going to do this and for you. I'm going to do that, and whether or not it, that's been going on for years. Read my lips, no new taxes. And all of those things are, those you can compartmentalize. And I think people have. And some people latch on to them. Hope and change. Well, what does it mean? What does it actually mean? Well, everybody came up with it. It was a blank canvas.
Right.
Let's all paint our own picture of what it means. And they did. Well, now it's like, yeah, but I still have this canvas that I painted on. It looks really horrible, and you did nothing.
But one of the most perfect examples was yesterday, and I think it needs to be brought up. they can't spin the fact that Biden is absolutely ecstatic that Trump won.
The pictures are so
the pictures are just
and the videos. I mean,
the video shaking his hand.
It was when it was happening. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, and still, hour later, Karine Jean-Pierre. Oh no. Biden, president still believes he's a threat to democracy, and they're still out there screaming, "No, he's Hitler, he's Hitler!" And everybody's watching this, going, "If you wanted an indication that everything that they were talking about was a lie, Biden proved it, not with a lot of words, just with that chiclet smile and shaking the hands.
Well, I mean,
and the imagery, and then Jill there later on, and they're all smiling together.
Right. Well,
it's just
it was insane. It was like
just,
Karine Jean-Pierre. No. Karine, they're slow dancing in the Oval Office right now. You seriously need just put the book down. Put the book of answers down, would you, for a minute? It's over. It's over. It's like, I mean, it was insane to watch it play out.
They're slow dancing. Karine, they're slow dancing.
Come on. You've got Luther Vandross on the Bluetooth, and they're it's
Ducey, it's time just to troll now.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly.
Karine.
Come on.
For God's sakes, they're slow dancing.
Yeah.
In the Oval Office.
Right. They were holding hands the whole time, like an old couple.
Biden was rubbing his neck, for God's sakes.
He was sniffing his hair. And they just can't let go. They just can't let go.
And that's why it was an important moment, because that moment to me showed, wow, Biden's indicating it's all BS. There is no Hitler. There is no fascism. Right. There is no threat to democracy.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
right. It's going smoothly.
We may have exaggerated a little bit in telling you the story.
Okay, it wasn't Luther Vandross. It was Peaches and Herb. So
reunited. The fact that I know that bothers me. The fact that you said Peaches and Herb and I went reunited. That's not very prog rock of me at all, is it?
No, it's not.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's our Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. What did you say when we went going into the break?
What? I don't know. What did I say?
Oh, you threw out one more line.
I don't remember.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they just kind of fly out. Yeah.
You threw out a line when we were talking about Biden and the whole smile thing and all that.
Yeah.
What Democrats
Peaches and Herb.
do. No, it wasn't that. It was another line.
No.
You threw out. All right. Coming up following.
I'll go back and listen to the tape. I'll listen to our podcast later, something I've never done. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm not going to listen to
remember
our
what
podcast.
you said.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they just get the lines just kind of fall out. The moment, with Biden off the air, I told you, I really think that was the play. He wanted that to look that way. Biden wanted everything to go that way yesterday because I think he wanted to pull the rug out from under this whole thing of, even though he was part of it. I think he really wanted to dismantle the Democratic Party. Because think about this. That's the only thing they have left is to keep going on the Hitler fascist thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Biden wanted to do his part to dismantle that because I think, again, he's doing everything he can to undermine his own party after they kicked him out.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.